I'm here today with Jack Lifton, and we're going to do something a little bit different, aren't we, Jack?
Yes, we are.
We're going to do a back and forth about what's happening in the technology metal sector. And Jack, why don't we start with the China's rare earth exchange that's beginning trading? Do you have any comments on that? Because I know I do.
Yes, I'm finding it hard to believe that we can compare something like that with something we would do, because the Chinese really are just taking baby steps now in this kind of thing. And they have no experience of this type of exchange, I would guess, since before World War II. So this is all brand new. Book learning, so to speak. It's a good start, but I'm not sure it's anything more than an academic exercise at this point.
All right, well, here's what I want to add to that. I think that this is, however, a good sign that companies or investors that want to buy actual strategic materials and
Yeah.
and invest in them, it's actually a very good sign for that particular market expanding. Next, I wanted to ask you about the Great Western enters into a memo of understanding for rare earth services that was out this week. We had a lot of really good numbers, Jack. Did you have any comments about this particular announcement?
Well, I don't have any idea with whom they entered into this MOU. So, no, I really don't know what to say, because it could be, I'm not trying to be too funny, but it might be just somebody to print labels on boxes. I'd like to know a lot more about what it is they did an MOU for, what service they are discussing with somebody. And I want to point out to people, MOUs are just like notes scribbled when you're going to the grocery store. They don't mean a whole lot. You might remember a lot more things once you get there.
And let me just add, your points are very well taken, because it actually says that the MOU with an internationally recognized provider for REE separation services, and it doesn't actually identify who this MOU is. So I
Right.
appreciate your comments. So next on my list, Peter Cashin called me late last night to say that he wasn't going to be able to meet you because he's going to be doing his AGM here this week and will be in Montreal. But they had some big news this last week. They
Yeah.
released a revised and substantially improved PEA. Did you have any comments on that particular announcement?
Well, by substantially improved, I think you mean they reduced the stated cost by is at least $1 billion. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And the new number, however, is still well over $1 billion. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. My comment is that anybody looking for $1 billion is standing in a short line, but you're standing on the edge of a cliff. It's going to be, you got to keep your balance while you're looking for this money. And I would say the number one problem that Quest has is raising that kind of money in this market, or even in the near term. And I also noticed that their PEA shows they will not be in operation, assuming they are funded, until 2019, perhaps 2020. So it's hard to factor anything like that into estimates of future supply and demand, because it's already beyond the range of things I would put into an estimate.
I just want to add further to that, the elections in Quebec, where the Liberal Party
Yeah.
has won, I think actually is a very positive news for Quest, because the Quebec government does have a great deal of resources, and they do support the resource sector. So I think that's very good news for Peter and for shareholders of Quest. Moving on, I
That's true.
have a lot of news. Tasman last week put out their financial results for 6 months,
Hmm.
and they
Hmm.
also announced their pre-feasibility study. They're commencing their pre-feasibility study for Nora Carr. Now, I know that you're a fan of the Swedish rare earth company, as we both
Yeah.
are, and I
Yeah.
wanted to know what you think about this particular news, if you had any comments you'd like to add.
I'm very impressed by the fact that Tasman has been recently able to raise money in this market, and I'm urging people to look at those who are able to raise money now. As, to me, that's more evidence that I'm on the right track picking survivors. Tasman is surely Europe's best hope to be independent, and Tasman has to be brought into operation, or Europe is going to become a second-rate place, and Europeans don't want that to happen. So congratulations to Tasman.
Well, I agree with you completely. I also like to congratulate both Ucor and Geomega, which also announced
Yes.
raising money. Ucor announced the receipt of 6.56 million, and Geomega closed 3.315 million in private placements. So, does this mean there's a turnaround in the rare earth market, Jack?
I think it means that investors are selecting the winners. I really do. I'm not sure about a turnaround, but I'm sure that uh, this is the market picking winners.
Of course, I'd like to do a segue into the fact, and congratulations, you were the #1 most viewed article on Investor Intel last week. Can you talk to us a little bit about the content of your premise that many companies in the future will be signing up for Solvay?
What I was saying was that Solvay is clearly the world's leading rare earth separation company, no question about it. But Solvay has a limit to what it can do. It's not an infinite well of largesse or technology. So we have to watch now who first becomes a supplier to Solvay. I'm going to say that it might be as many as 3, more likely 2. So now the horse race has now gotten down to win, place, and show, and I'm not sure that show is going to mean anything. But unless somebody else builds a world-class separation facility with 45 years of experience and does that real soon, then I think that Solvay, like the market, is helping us pick the winners. I really do.
And then I just have a question for you. You know, we also in technology metals, I would argue that graphene is definitely a critical material. And I'm sure you saw the news about Graphoid appointing Thomas Cruikshank to their advisory board. And of course, Focus has a position in Graphoid. That seemed to be quite relevant news, I thought, and didn't get a lot of coverage. I wondered if you had any comments on this.
Yeah, graphene is a super technical field. It makes rare earths look like kindergarten with regard to the technology involved. So that these two gentlemen who are world-class experts in technology are certainly a tremendous plus for those companies. And I think, again, these companies are separating themselves from the herd. It's obvious to me that we're seeing winners pull ahead.
All right. Now, Jack, is there anything else that you'd like to comment on? Are there any events that you're going to be attending here in the next couple of weeks that our audience would enjoy knowing about?
Well, actually, I'm going to be speaking at CIMEXMIN 2014 in Belo Horizonte, Brazil. This is the Brazilian Mining Congress, and it's very large, and there's so much happening in Brazil that I was asked to, I didn't even know this conference existed, to be honest with you, until I was invited to be a speaker. And now I'm finding there are lots and lots of companies that are not juniors, but producing companies of technology metals that I've never heard of. And I'm very interested in bringing these companies to the attention of our readers.
Well, that's fantastic, and I really did appreciate you doing that teleconference with Investor Intel client Largo Resources, which of course is in Brazil, and will be producing a technology metal, vanadium, here in the next couple of weeks.
Right. I think, having spoken to the Largo management, I was extremely impressed, and quite frankly, I'm not a finance guy, and everybody keep this in mind, but I had the urge this afternoon to buy shares of Largo. That urge doesn't hit me very often. It is really undervalued.
Well, Jack, I'd like to thank you for having this commentary with me here today, and we look forward to doing this every week.
Good. Thank you, Tracy.